They don't tell you this, but when God truly anoints you, your life doesn't get quieter. It gets louder, not with noise on the outside, but with conflict on the inside. Because the moment God places His hand on your life, you stop fitting comfortably into places you used to belong. You stop enjoying the things you used to enjoy. You stop tolerating things you used to ignore. Your spirit becomes too sensitive. Your purpose becomes too loud, and your old life becomes too small. When heaven marks you, hell reacts. Suddenly, you feel resistance, confusion of pressure, and moments of unexpected spiritual heaviness. You look around and think, why does following God feel harder than running from Him ever did? But here's the truth. You're not in a battle because you're weak. You're in a battle because you're chosen. And the weight you feel, it's not punishment. It's evidence of the oil on your life. If you've been sensing tension in your relationships, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your circumstances, this message might be God whispering, "You're anointed, you just don't know it yet." Let's go deeper. The first sign of true anointing is unusual spiritual pressure. It's when your spirit feels heavy, even when your life looks peaceful. It's when you feel drained, even after resting. It's when you feel watched, resisted, or pushed back by something you can't see, but you can absolutely feel. Why does this happen? Because the enemy doesn't attack people who pose no threat. He attacks the ones carrying something heaven assigned. He attacks those whose prayers shake things, whose obedience influences others, whose destiny affects generations. Your anointing speaks loudly in the spiritual realm, long before it becomes visible in the natural. This is why you feel pressure over things that seem small. Your spirit is responding to battles your eyes cannot see. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that your real enemies are not people, but invisible forces that recognize your calling better than you do. This pressure is not a sign you're failing, it's a sign you're rising. The second sign you're truly anointed is divine separation. When God calls you higher, He removes you from environments that would keep you low. You'll notice people you thought were permanent start drifting. Conversations feel different. Your circle gets smaller. Sometimes people walk away without explanation, apology, or closure. But what looks like rejection is often God's protection. David was anointed king and immediately sent back to isolation in the fields. Joseph was chosen for greatness and instantly separated from his family. Moses was called to deliver Israel and spent 40 years alone in the desert. Why does this happen? Because God develops His chosen ones in obscurity. He strips away noise, distraction, and unhealthy influence to prepare your character before He reveals your calling. If God has been separating you from certain people, it's not because you're unlovable, it's because you're unrepeatable. Some people cannot go where God is taking you. Some friendships cannot survive your next level. Some voices cannot walk with your assignment. Heaven isolates what it intends to elevate. The third sign of true anointing is intense mental and emotional warfare. When the enemy cannot stop your destiny, he tries to cloud your identity. He whispers lies designed to weaken your belief you're not worthy, you're not capable, you're falling behind, you're wasting time, no one sees you, no one supports you. Your calling is meaningless, and sometimes the warfare hits hardest after a moment of spiritual growth, just like Elijah, who went from calling fire down from heaven to wanting to die the very next day. Why does this happen? Because spiritual elevation attracts spiritual opposition. Your mind becomes a battlefield because your mind is where obedience begins. If the enemy can exhaust your thoughts, he can weaken your consistency. If he can discourage your emotions, he can delay your purpose. But Philippians 4:7 says that God's peace will guard your heart and mind. Meaning, if your mind has been under attack, it's not because you're empty. It's because you're valuable. The enemy fights what God favours. Fourth sign, delays that don't make sense. You pray, but nothing happens. You prepare, but nothing moves. You step out, but progress is slow. You begin to wonder, God, did I misunderstand you? Why is this taking so long? But hear this clearly, delays are often divine. Joseph had the dream at 17, but didn't touch the throne until years later. David was anointed long before he became king. Moses was chosen long before he confronted Pharaoh. Why? Because anointing requires development. God matures your character to match the size of your calling. If your process feels slow, it's because your purpose is significant. Sometimes God slows you down to protect you from rushing into something that could crush you prematurely. Some doors closed because God said, "You're not ready yet." Some opportunities disappeared because God said, "Not this one." Some prayers haven't been answered because God is saying, "I love you too much to rush you." Your delay is divine. It is protection. It is preparation. The fifth sign you're truly anointed is a deep inner pull, a quiet but constant knowing that your life has purpose, even when you feel unqualified, even when you feel tired, even when you feel overlooked. Something in you whispers, "There's more." And no matter how discouraged you get, you cannot bring yourself to quit. That's not personality. That's not ambition. That's anointing. The anointing produces hunger. It produces passion. It produces spiritual restlessness when you're settling for less than what God designed you to carry. This is why you can be hurting, yet still have hope. Why you can feel empty, yet still feel called. Why you can feel tired, yet refuse to give up. The anointing doesn't remove pressure. It makes you resilient under it. The sixth sign of true anointing is that people are drawn to you, even when you don't feel qualified. People confide in you. Strangers feel safe around you. Friends seek your wisdom. Loved ones come to you for peace. People tell you, "There's something about you," and they're right. It's the anointing. Gideon didn't feel strong. Jeremiah didn't feel ready. Moses didn't feel capable. But the presence of God resting on them made them influential, even when they lacked confidence. Some of you wonder, why do people trust me so easily? Why do they open up to me? Why do they want my advice? Because the oil on your life speaks, even when your mouth doesn't. Your presence carries peace, even when you don't feel peaceful. Your words carry weight, even when you feel quiet. Your life reflects God, even when you're unsure of yourself. That's anointing. Final sign, supernatural protection. Look back over your life. You have survived things that should have destroyed you. You've outlived situations that were designed to break you. You've escaped traps you didn't even know were set for you. You walked out of battles other people didn't survive. You came out of storms, still standing when others collapsed. And you didn't survive because you were lucky. You survived because you were anointed. God protects what He has chosen. He shields what He has called. He guards what He has assigned. The reason the enemy couldn't kill you is because God wasn't finished with you. You are not standing by accident. You are standing on assignment. So if these signs are showing up in your life, it's not random. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. You are anointed, even if you don't feel special, even if you doubt your worth, even if you question your progress. Your circumstances do not define you. Your anointing does. Heaven marked you, hell noticed you, and your future still needs you. So don't shrink back. Don't second guess your calling. Don't settle for a life smaller than the one God assigned to you. If this message spoke to your spirit, comment "I'm anointed" and subscribe for more unfiltered Bible truth that strengthens your faith and awakens your purpose.